And welcome to another edition of St. Louis 7, following an episode on OT with Oliver. This episode with radio icon Randy Raley. We talked about KSHE. We talked about a lot of music, classic rock bands. Who's the better drummer? Who's the most overrated? Had a good time, and I think more than anything, for those maybe who aren't in tune with what we talked about, it still was enjoyable for people just hearing about music in general and what it means to be in the business as long as you've been in. Tell me.
It's great, man. Thanks very much for having me. And, I'm just an old dog and still learning new tricks.
Where can people go find you?
I do afternoons at the classic rock station in Topeka, Kansas. We have 100,000 watts. It is located on your website at b100rocks.com. If you're looking for an app, go to KDV, the FM. And if you're ever tooling around Kansas City or Topeka, you can find me on good old analog frequency modulation 100.3.
You're from Missouri, not from St. Louis. How long did it take you to find out we were so obsessed with where people went to high school?
2 days. About 2 days. And my answer is I didn't go to high school in St. Louis at all. I went to United Township High School in East Moline, Illinois.
What was KSHE like in the mid 80s, early 90s?
KSHE was very much a pop radio station. It was not the old KSHE that people grew up with. There were no long album sides or anything like that. We had really tightened up the playlist and turned it into more of a, I hate to say it, a hit machine. And the ratings went just through the roof, and we were a juggernaut there for quite a while.
In honor of you, I got my Mississippi Nights hoodie on.
Nice.
You have a favorite Mississippi Nights concert?
Yes, I do. My band played at Mississippi Nights, opened up for the Jeff Healey band. And as we were getting ready to leave this, I thought we played a great show. Steve Porcaro, by the way, who's a guitar player in St. Louis, was my guitar player. I taught him everything he knows. And so we were at Mississippi Nights, and we were opening for Jeff Healey. And as I was walking off the stage, his hand reaches out and grabs me, and he says, "Hey, man, you guys were great." It was Jeff Healey. And he goes, "You guys need to go up and do an encore." And I said, "Oh, dude, wait a minute, man. Opening bands don't get encores." And he looked at me and he goes, "Mine do." And so we hopped back up on stage and did this really slowed down version of Crossroads, and it was great. That's my favorite Mississippi Nights memory.
That's a good one. When you're back in town, you go to Ted Drew's, what do you order?
I am a very plain guy. I like myself a cherry concrete. That's what I get. I'm not fancy. I don't do any of that. I like me a good old cherry concrete.
You live in Topeka now. Do they run stop signs as much as we do in St. Louis?
Nobody runs stop signs as much as anybody does in St. Louis. That four-way stop ought to be a four-way slow.
When you get back to St. Louis, where do you like to go? Make sure you hit.
Now that there's no live music, I always like going to the pageant or someplace like that. I always try to get by Hacienda, man. I ate there for 30 years. My family ate there. My daughter, we put her in a car seat there. It's just one of those things. I just love Hacienda, and I try to get to Hacienda as much as I can. And I haven't been there in a few months, so I think there's a margarita waiting for me.
I was going to say, what's the flavor of choice?
Oh, I usually get a top shelf, and I usually go through a whole big basket of chips and green sauce that they have. So I'd say that my favorite place to hang out in St. Louis would be Hacienda.
That's a good place. So if you want to hear the podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, it's OT with Oliver. This is a St. Louis 7. If you like it, we've got more, I'd say around 60, 70 at this time that are up with other people asking all of them the following question. And again, Randy, thanks for the time. When you were at KSHE, what made you proud to be a part of KSHE's heritage?
The listeners, and the fact that I worked my ass off. I worked really hard on putting together a really good show. The one thing that I've always tried to do is whenever that mic opens up, give them something, whether it's newsworthy or informational or topical or humorous or something. Give the audience something. And it was just the thought that I was working at KSHE, a radio station I had been listening to since 1970. But I really did work hard. It was work. It's not digging a ditch, but I really did work hard.
Stay healthy, stay good, man.
Thank you, brother.